Hey there, champs. I'm sure the whole boxing world tuned in for the last show of Showtime yesterday. It was a stacked card featuring Chris Colbert versus Rayo Valenzuela. This was the rematch. We also had David Morrell versus Agbeko, and the blast from the past, Andre Berto versus Robert Guerrero. This is actually the rematch. But before we get into that, guys, please punch and knock out that subscription button. That way you'll never see it again. And ding that notification bell. That way you'll never miss any of my new boxing videos. Alright guys, let's get to the round. Ding, ding. Alright champs, let's start with the blast from the past. Robert Guerrero versus Andre Berto. So this is actually a rematch, and they had fought earlier in their career. Both of these fighters came in at a special weight, 149. These two fighters have not been active for a while. Both of these fighters are in their 40s and way past their primes. But when they were both young, they were champions and they were very good. They both actually fought Floyd Mayweather, one of the best pound for pound fighters of all time, the king of the shoulder roll. But tell that to Ryan Garcia. I really thought this fight was not gonna be that good, just two older fighters trying to get another payday. We want payday. But no, I enjoyed the fight. The fight delivered, and you also see glimpses of how they were good when they were young and what made them champions. I really enjoyed this fight, and it was entertaining and competitive, you know, for their age. I wouldn't put them in there with a strong, young, hungry lion, but another seasoned fighter, old vet like them, why not? These guys already proved themselves in the past, and I don't see anything wrong with them trying to make a living and get another payday before they really retire. I'm sure they could still compete with somebody at their age, but nonetheless, I enjoy seeing these two fighters back in the ring again. This fight was fun and competitive. Robert Guerrero took the win, but it was pretty close, both fighters having their moments. Now let's talk about Rayo Valenzuela versus Chris Colbert. This is a rematch. Hey, this fight delivered while it lasted. It was 6 rounds of fun. Even though Chris Colbert got dropped in the first round, I really thought he was gonna be out, but the guy showed grit. He got past that trauma and made it past the first round. It was back and forth just like the first fight. I wasn't really going for anybody. I'm not really a fanboy of any boxer. I'm not Team Colbert or Team Valenzuela. I am Team Boxing. I like the product. I personally wish I was born in the Sugar Ray Robinson days when people fought each other like 5 times. And their losses didn't really mean anything, but now you take a loss and someone's trash. I believe some of these boxers are scared to take tough fights because they might lose that O, and it is very important in these days. I believe if you're not a champion, having an O is the next best thing. I don't believe it's a lot of leverage, but it is something. I know Jake LaMotta and Sugar Ray Robinson fought like 5 times, and all 5 of those fights were pretty good. Jake LaMotta was the first person to be Sugar Ray Robinson. One of the closest fighters that I've seen like that in this age is probably Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao fought everybody like 3 times. He actually fought Juan Manuel Marquez like 4 or 5 times, and every fight was big. I wish more boxers were like that. I'm pretty sure that will save boxing. The only boxer that I know is still pretty much like that is Teofimo Lopez. That guy don't duck, no smoke. He is actually my favorite active fighter. I was actually him for Halloween. I was him when he was at the press conference with Josh Taylor, when he dressed like Scarface without the shirt, all in white. That was me. I obviously got the body for it. Also, Devin Haney and Lomachenko are good throwback fighters as well. And Lomachenko already fought Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney. All we need is Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez, and I still don't care who wins. As long as they fight, I'm buying the pay-per-view. They could fight 3 times and I'm buying the pay-per-view 3 times. Alright champs, let's get to David Morrell versus Agbeko. This fight was a mismatch and extremely one-sided. Agbeko stood no chance. Dave Morrell ran that guy over like a diesel. This fight only lasted 2 rounds and it was pretty one-sided. Dave Morrell knocked him out in the second round. He stood no chance. Before the fight started, David Morrell did call out David Benavidez and Canelo. He only called out David Benavidez after the fight, even though David Morrell only has 10 fights and this was his 10th win. But it was his 5th title defense, so that is pretty accomplished. I can see why he is calling out David Benavidez and Canelo Alvarez. He feels himself, he feels some type of way. I still believe it's too early for him to be calling out Canelo or David Benavidez. But look at Teofimo Lopez, he started making throwback fights since his 10th fight. And look at Teofimo Lopez now. He has a way better resume than any other boxer, even boxers with 40 fights. So maybe David Morrell is daring to be great, and I applaud him. But I don't think Canelo will fight him because of his record. He only has 10 wins. Canelo Alvarez, I believe, has 62 wins. I believe calling out David Benavidez makes a lot more sense for David Morrell because David Benavidez has only 28 wins, so it makes more sense. And David Benavidez is a throwback fighter himself, and I don't see him ducking anybody, not even David Morrell, but who knows? But I still see David Benavidez beating David Morrell, only because we haven't seen David Morrell fight anybody yet. But who knows, what if you throw David Morrell in there with David Benavidez and he beats David Benavidez convincingly or knocks him out or something, or throw him in there with Charlo or Tim Tszyu. I really want to see all these guys fight each other young and old, like Roy Jones Jr. and Bernard Hopkins. But as long as us fans keep talking trash about fighters when they take a loss, we most likely will never get fights like that again. But what if Charlo and Tim Tszyu fight and it's a good fight, but one of them has to take a loss, right? Say Charlo loses, are we gonna talk bad about Charlo? Or say Tim loses, are we gonna talk bad about Tim? Or are we gonna say run it again if it's a good fight? Even if it's not a good fight, there's other opponents. Some of these styles make fights. And triangle theories don't really work unless you're somebody very special like Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd Mayweather beats everybody. When Floyd Mayweather beat Pacquiao, nobody makes Pacquiao look like that. Nobody. Even when Pacquiao lost, it was close competitive fights that probably could have gone either way. But now with Floyd Mayweather or Sugar Ray Robinson, those guys took out everybody. My job is to make boxing the #1 sport in the world again. Like in the Muhammad Ali days, the heavyweight champion was the most famous person in the world. If we had a time machine, I would love to see Floyd Mayweather versus Sugar Ray Robinson at a welterweight fight. I think Robinson beats Pretty Boy Floyd, but I think against Money Mayweather, it will be a 50-50 fight. But I still give the edge to Robinson. But nevertheless, what do you guys think about Showtime's last show? Did you guys enjoy it? I'm not gonna lie, I got a little emotional. I didn't cry, but a tear shed, I ain't gonna lie. But comment below what you champs thought about Showtime's last show, and I'll write to everyone back. Oh, and I did forget one thing, subscribe.